Well, so here we are at the Tokyo Motor Show in Japan, and we have a very interesting car for you. It's the Suzuki Ignis. Now this car, of course, is a car that Maruti will bring into India towards the end of next year or towards the later part of next year. Well, what is this car all about? Essentially, it is a compact crossover that Suzuki will bring into India, and it is under 4 meters in length. It's actually 3.7 meters, which makes it one of the smallest compact crossovers when it will enter the Indian market. So let's check it out. Well, even though it might be very compact on the outside, it is a very stylish car with its sculpted looks. And even though the size is small, the boot area is pretty large enough. We'll have a look at it by opening it right now. Well, it's pretty decent. And of course, remember, when it comes to India, this tray will not be there. So you'll get a pretty deep boot. You'll get lots of space. And as you can see, there's minimum suspension intrusion. The seats also split and can be folded and stored away, which makes it one of the better small cars for luggage carrying capacity. Now let's check out if the interiors are as stylish as the outside design. Well, so here I am now inside the cabin of the new Ignis, and as you can see, headroom is more than adequate. It's a very stylish place to be in, and the version over here that we are sitting in has this huge touchscreen device. It is of course like an iPad, which houses all the controls for this car, and this of course is something that we have seen on the newer Maruti cars like the S-Cross as well as the recently launched Baleno. And who knows, this system might make it onto the Indian version as well. But in terms of quality, looks as well as features, this will be one of the best cars at that price point. Well, it's a very familiar place to be in once you enter the Ignis, and of course you get very well bolstered seats. You get side bolstering on these seats. The overall comfort is very good inside this car, and the one we're sitting inside at the moment is a four-wheel drive version, and it comes with an automatic CVT gearbox. Now Maruti of course hasn't really confirmed the details on this car at the moment, but chances are that the 4x4 might be dropped, but you might get this CVT on the Indian car as well. Well, it's a very familiar place to be in. As I just mentioned, a lot of the switchgear, especially the power window buttons, are shared with the Swift as well as the other cars at that price point in the Maruti range. What is new though is this center console, which houses the air conditioning system controls, and as you can see, it really does look very fancy and rather upmarket for a car which will be sold at the lower point in the crossover segment. So full marks to Suzuki for giving it a very stylish and very upmarket interior. Well, what you will also like inside this car, of course, is a nice mix of boxy as well as circular themes. Well, overall, this car has a retro theme about itself, and you really do feel very cool and very stylish, and especially the gauges, which really do have a lot of flair about themselves. Well, so here I am in the back seat of the new Ignis now, and because it is a very tall car on the outside, it makes entering and exiting this cabin a very breezy affair. As you can see, headroom is more than adequate, and I've got sufficient knee room as well. It's not a very long car, so knee room is pretty decent. But what Suzuki have done is a very smart thing. They have raised the front seats, so I have placed below them where I can stretch my feet, and that adds to the convenience as well as overall comfort inside this cabin. And this car is decent in terms of its width at the back. It's not a very wide car, but you can house two adults without any problems. A third one will also fit, but it will be a bit of a squeeze. And there's a bit of a negative, and that is the fact that there's a bit of a hump in the floor panel, which means that sitting two over here should be ideal rather than sitting three for the long journey. But overall, a great little package from the house of Maruti Suzuki. Well, but overall, it remains to be seen what specs Maruti will finally finalize for India. And it is, of course, sub 4 meters, so Maruti will get the cost benefit in India. But let's see how things add up for this car when it finally arrives in India towards the later part of next year.